Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So quite late last night, Kabam did drop some major news, and they tried to clue us in on the future, well, upcoming buffs and kind of like the state where we're at. We're gonna break the post down before, because we're gonna break the post down afterwards, because I have definitely quite a lot to say about everything that's written here, and vast majority of it I utterly disagree, and I think is quite misleading. But let's just get to the most important things. So August, we have a Juggernaut rework in the upcoming 36.1 update. Will be releasing Juggernaut's brand new update, a full rework, this time focused on more aggressive and fast-paced attacker kit, aiming to make you feel more like your Juggernaut and an unstoppable force. Okay, that's for Juggernaut, and again, I'm going to comment on these afterwards. September, it's an Ant-Man rework coming out contest near you. In September, we'll be releasing all new but somewhat familiar Ant-Man kit, keeping much of the old but adding new flavor with pimp particles, new debuffs, way more poison all day long. Expect to stack a ton of debuffs and have much more consistent glancing Ant-Man. October, they're taking a break apparently because they have, well, they think they have been doing too much. But we're gonna take a look to a very revealing graph in a moment. November, Black Cat and Scorpion are not getting balanced. Effectively, they're saying they're happy where both of these champions are, which is a very big peace of mind, especially for me, because I'm about to actively chase Scorpion. And then we have Rocket Raccoon. It's been a long time since Rocket has seen some love, so he will be our target for the upcoming November build. He will be receiving full rework. Expect to see him messing around with some new scrap resource and update his shield mechanic and some of his classic critting power. So that is that. So first things first, these are the three buffs. So we have Juggernaut in August, September is Ant-Man, nothing in October, and November we're gonna have Rocket. All three of these choices I think kind of make sense, but at this point in the buff program, it is absolutely impossible for me to get excited, because this year, every month, we have gotten excited about which champions are getting buffed, and virtually every single time it has been kind of like somewhat underwhelming, a flop, or, you know, adequate at best. So I'm not gonna, it sounds cool what they're trying to sell, it really does, but their track record just completely prohibits me from expressing some sort of major levels of excitement. I'm gonna, you know, keep my thoughts to myself for most part. I'll wait for these buffs to come live and information be revealed, and then we're gonna judge them on individual basis. But at this point in July, at the end of July, I have zero faith in Kabam's buff program, people working on the buffs, and what they consider to be adequate. But let's break it down further on. There has been a lot of chatter about how champion reworks and updates have changed, and I'll prove very, very easily how they in fact have changed, and that Kabam is just trying to gaslight everybody with this post. That's literally what they're doing. We are still approaching reworks the same way. You are not. That is a lie. That line is a direct lie. And we want to establish our goals and parameters for the champ revamp efforts. Give champions an update that will help them feel more meaningful. Well, they are failing at that, in my opinion, more often than not. Especially for newer players who usually have fewer options to deal with challenges. Many of the champions that get reworks are obtained regularly in the early game, especially with those 1-2-star versions. While we may feel like eons ago for you, 2-star champions are still used regularly. That is also not entirely true. When you play this game, you can get to 3-star champion in day 1, 4-star champion sometimes in day 1. Even if you download this game for the first time ever, I think an average player relies on 2-star champions for maybe maximum a week. I remember starting this game when the game came out, and even I only played a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks with 2-star champions, and then I started getting 3 stars. That is absolute false description. Also, the logic behind this statement is absolutely insane. Now, it's one thing to keep these kits simple and effective. Nobody has a problem with that. Some of the best champions in the game are simple and effective. We have Magic, we have Archangel, we have plenty of other champions who are extremely simple to read and understand, and most importantly, even simpler to play. However, the problem is with the power scaling, where for new players, especially as they say here, especially those ones, well, okay, they are still regularly used by new players, but these champions are priorities to keep them simple and easy to understand. Also, Give champions update, help them feel more meaningful. Well, that is the bit that they're failing. New players also want strong champions. New players, like, you are actively doing your new players disservice when you are encouraging them to rank up Yondu instead of a better or decent tech champion. Even though Yondu just got buffed. Because Yondu is just not good enough. He's still at the bottom of the list when it comes to tech power rankings. Somewhere there. It doesn't... From this simple point, it doesn't matter whether it's a new player or it's an experienced player. You want your champions to be effective and to be good. And here's the chart that I'm going to use to drive my point home. How the buff program has changed and how utterly disappointing it has been. So we can compare to 2021 buffs. So by this time around, July, we had gotten way more buffs. But okay, we can assume that they are scaling them back because there aren't as many champions that they want to buff, even though there's still loads that need a buff. But whatever, okay, we can deal with the reduction in the quantity. According to them, as an excuse that they used, reduction in quantity is to ensure increase in quality. That is literally what they're trying to sell us. That is why I'm telling you they are gaslighting us. They said, we don't want to, just push out buffs. We want them to be more meaningful, well thought out, well tested. And let's compare. Last year, we have gotten updated Yellow Jacket, Kingpin, Mallman, Terax, Massacre, Angela. Like, virtually vast majority of these champions are legitimately playable, good champions. Some of them are at the very top of the game. Some of them are somewhere in the middle, but all of them almost have purpose. There are only a handful of buffs that, are not used by some portion of the player base from last year. Like Civil Warrior is a fail. Like hardly anybody plays Civil Warrior. Yellow Jacket, even Yellow Jacket's being played. So out of the first 3 months, okay, Nova's buff was crap. Civil Warrior's buff was crap. Vulture's buff is kind of like hit or miss, take it or leave it. All of these other buffs, in fact, did make the champions meaningful. In fact, did encourage people to rank and use those champions at all tiers of the game. Even the top of the top players and the newer players. Now we have Psycho Man, virtually no difference, still a third. Guillotine, it's the last year's buff that slightly improved the region, but it's not like she shot to the top of the game. Gamora, yeah, she's slightly better. Maybe if you're brand new to the game, she's gonna do something, but Storm, this is like the only... Storm and Mordo, I suppose, are the only 2 buffs this year around that actually can see some increase in gameplay now. Deadpool, all that work for absolutely nothing. Yondu and Torgen Foster. Can you honestly look me in the eyes and tell that any of these buffs stand next to Kingpin, stand next to Mr. Fantastic, stand next to Ultron or Bishop or Diablo? Any one of them. No. All of these buffs would be as the worst buffs from the year before. Maybe again with the exception of Storm. Like if you rank all of these buffs from 1 to 30, where would these 2022 buffs lie? As the worst of the worst, right next to Civil Warrior, right next to Nova. How can they try and tell us that the buff program hasn't changed? Not only it has shrunk with, again, a gaslighted reason to us, but okay, we can deal with them reducing the amount. Fine. Can you look anywhere with a serious expression? Can you tell out loud with a serious expression that this year's buffs are as good as they were last year? So, my friends, there is no other way to put it, but this post is a lie. It's an open lie. It really, truly is. And also, we have been putting in a ton of effort. Why? For champion attribute system, shouldn't have bothered. It's ridiculously bad. I think it's even harmful to new players as well, because it's exceedingly misleading. Only thing there to check, you need to check out the tier list that somebody made based on Kabam's ratings. Some of the best champions are on like the 4th tier, and some of the most mediocre or subpar champions are basically at the top of the game list for Kabam. This tier list is exceedingly misleading, and I pray to God nobody pays attention to these rankings. Even new players. I think new players are better off ignoring them in the first place. But all this beginning is just a flat-out lie. Kabam gaslighting to you. You cannot tell that there is no difference between these buffs. Not a single buff this year has been remotely as meaningful, thoughtful, effective as half of the buffs last year. They just haven't. So this is a flat-out lie. Based on that, I do want to get excited for buffed Juggernaut. I do want to get excited for buffed Ant-Man. I do want to get excited for Rocket Raccoon that might be an absolute monster damage-wise. But I absolutely cannot. Absolutely cannot. And now they're going to be buffing Yondu and Deadpool X-Force and Gamora and whatnot. And we got hype. And, you know, how many of you want to rank these champions up? Based on these year's buffs, I think the only champions that I did end up ranking was Storm and Mordo. And, you know, it's not like I'm using them a whole ton. It's just that they are good enough, I suppose, now. But compared to last year's, Yellow Jacket ranked, Kingpin ranked, Mallman ranked, Terex ranked, Massacre ranked, Angela ranked, Crossbones ranked, Nova ranked, Black Panther ranked 2 still counts, Mr. Fantastic ranked, Ebony Maw, War Machine, Ultron. I have ranked up like almost all of these champions because they are worth it. I will never rank up most of these champions because they are not worth it. How can anyone say that they have not changed the buff program? They have absolutely shredded it to pieces. Pathetic compared to last year. Absolutely pathetic. So we do have new buffs coming. But again, I'll find it extremely difficult to get excited for it. Let me know what you guys think. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the